just feeling chatty today, I guess. So I wanted to make another video. And I want to share my top 3 intuition development tips, because when is it not a good time to talk about that? I know I'm on the lookout usually for ways to level up my practice. So in case you are too, I thought I would share what has been the most powerful practices in my life that have opened me. So I have 3. 1 is discipline, 2 is making an offering, and 3 is vulnerability. So under discipline, that was probably how I opened the most. I would say I psychically opened a few years ago, and what happened that year is I started sitting every day. I had something going on in my life. I'd lost a parent, and so it kind of provoked me to sit every day. And when I did, I had no idea how powerful it was going to be in my meditation life. But I recommend sitting every day, at least 30 minutes a day if you can. 45 minutes is even better. And an hour, that's how long I sat, usually was an hour a day. Because I really do kind of deep trance work. But if you do that every day, 45 minutes a day, for a few weeks, you will open. I'm telling you, you have to be patient. You have to keep at it. There's a period where you kind of have to get comfortable with not getting downloads and being at peace with that. But if you really discipline yourself and sit every day, I really believe that you will slowly but surely unfold. Spiritually, you will open. So that was a big deal for me. Another way I brought in a large degree of discipline in my life at the time was when I was off of work, I would work out for 15 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be forever. And then I would have dinner, and then I would shower, and then I would meditate. And that was kind of my evening routine every day without fail for a year. And that was the year that I opened hugely psychically. So I really feel like discipline was a big deal. Working out at the same time, routine, and sitting every day was kind of the magic combination for me. It's kind of unexpected, actually. And I will say, under the section of discipline, a disciplined quality of attention during the day will take you a long way. Especially, I'm talking to you millennials who are on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter all day, and you're hopping from one account to the other, and you're just surfing a million different questions through Google, and I'm guilty of this. My guides have point blank told me that this fractures our consciousness a little bit. It fractures our attention. And when we're multitasking too during the day, it doesn't have to be social media, but if you're multitasking all day, your attention is divided in multiple directions, and that can actually kind of echo in your meditation. So I'm really bad at this, but because I'm really impatient and I want to do a lot of things during the day. But my guides have told me singular thought, singular attention during the day will translate into focus and stillness and meditation, which takes you further. So that's all some helpful tips under the theme of discipline. I hope you'll give that a try. And then, okay, this is kind of unexpected. It's a little known. Maybe it's sort of a cult, but making an offering has been a really big deal for me in my practice. My guides point blank told me that I have to, when I was asking how do I develop more, they were telling me keep finding the place in yourself where you can give something up. So I've experimented with fasting, with kind of a vow of silence temporarily, for a weekend, or what else have I done? Oh, I've given up meat when my guides asked me. They showed me a door that could be open for me psychically if I gave up meat. I don't mean that you have to give up these things forever, but maybe a season. Could be for a week, could be 2 days before you do a reading for someone. I've given up alcohol and plant medicine. So asceticism, there's something to that. It might sound old school, and I've actually heard other teachers say that this isn't necessary, but for whatever reason, my guides have asked me to try it out in my life, and it has been helpful. So, yeah, I just think it's about kind of mastery. I think it's about self-mastery maybe, and when you can master yourself in one area of life, it the mastery kind of trickles over to your meditation life because everything's connected. So I think that's kind of how it works for me, but it's also about making space. So like if you, like a lot of religious traditions, you fast and for like a day or for a week, and then you go into prayer. The idea is that the fasting brings you closer to God. I think the reason that is because you're creating a bunch of space in your inner landscape, maybe your mind, on the level of mind, because you're not allowed to be like fixating on food and like thinking what you're going to eat next. So you have a lot more space for spirit, essentially. So making space in yourself by giving things up that you don't necessarily need can bring your guides closer, I think. So you can also, it doesn't have to be like giving up pleasure. It could be that you make an offering, like a gift from the heart, like draw a picture. It could be a creative gift, like drawing a picture, or some devotional writing, devotional poetry. It could be a dance, like an ecstatic dance, or a yogic series. It could be that, and you make a connection in your mind that this is for spirit, this is for deeper opening in meditation. Make sure you make that connection when you're doing it. You could make a beautiful dinner and celebrate Mother Earth through the dinner. But it does need to be from the heart. I had a friend say that recently: when you make a gift to spirit for a psychic boon, you want to make sure that it's from the heart. So do it in love. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of like the spectrum of giving and receiving. So my guides have put it this way: to get, you have to give. And that back and forth of getting and giving is sort of the energy of making an offering. So give it a shot, see if it works for you. And then lastly, the last thing I'll say is an energy of vulnerability is another thing that I'm still working on, but like that is a big deal in the intuition development space. My guides have tried to teach me about this. This is not my strong suit. I'm much more active. I'm like comfortable in the action mode and like go out and get, make my dreams come true and like have an ambition and a goal and pursue it actively and with determination. And while that drive is helpful in some cases, in meditation, like opening psychically to the divine realm is a very vulnerable thing to do. And it's the energy of vulnerability is what opens you. So being open, being soft, being gentle is actually the energy that allows spirit to come close, if that makes sense. So do things in your life that actually help you kind of curate an energy of vulnerability. That could be that you do things that you're a little bit afraid of. For me, that could be like, in my life, it's been like public speaking, or it's been like overcoming my fear of flying, or that was a little bit more on the extreme end. Could be more mundane, like talking to a stranger at the grocery store if you're kind of like introverted. It could be, like saving your money. Maybe like you've always had a block around like having a savings account or a savings goal because you're afraid that you're gonna fail to hit it or something. So maybe like look for the places in you that are kind of like where your fears are, and try to kind of unblock them, right? Like if you have a fear of not having enough money, go ahead and buckle down and try to like generate a savings. a savings account. Or if your fear is, like artistic, like you want to paint one day, but you just don't know where to start, go ahead and sign up for that online class. So it can be kind of simple. It doesn't have to be like skydiving, is what I'm trying to say. And actually, vulnerability being like the superpower of the mystic is so interesting. This is why I think our suffering is so important. Because when we are suffering and when we are in pain, like anytime you've gone through like a bad breakup, or maybe someone has passed in your life, a loved one has passed, or there's been a change at your job or whatever, it can be a feeling, it can make you feel very vulnerable. And those can be our most psychically active times, because when stuff goes down in life, you're like, WTF universe, you're like, what is going on? Like, or I need help, like I need you, God. And you open naturally and organically. And so really your suffering is a gift. And that's why I think it is, because it makes you vulnerable. And vulnerability, like I said, is like the superpower. It is the key. And so, yeah, I think that's another way to generate vulnerability in your life, is to kind of explore areas in your life where you're not the expert. Like I was saying, like identify where your fears are, your blocks are, and kind of try to explore those areas a little bit more, invest in those areas a little bit more, because it's essentially like dealing with your blocks. There's a few areas in life that, like, in the mystic's life, there's like the intellectual level, and there's the spiritual level, and there's the emotional level, and then there's the physical level. And all of us have our primary language. Like mine is not physical. Mine is not, my first language is not exercising. It's more intellectual. It's not even spirituality. It's more intellectual. I love writing. I love thinking. I love a good debate. I love learning. So actually, that is not like that. To balance myself and to really get out of my comfort zone, working out and doing physical things like playing tennis or running a 5K, like that is stuff those are stretch activities for me. And they make me feel vulnerable because they're not my first vocabulary, if that makes sense. So do what is unfamiliar to you, and you will open psychically. So if you open in some area of your life, in any area of your life, you will open in meditation, because again, everything is connected. So kind of understand that, like, the energies are working in a parallel way. Like you bring mastery in over here, mastery will come in over there. You bring in vulnerability over here, your vulnerability, it will trickle and sort of radiate out over here. So it's all working in tandem, in my opinion. So those are my top 3 intuition development tips. I hope they're helpful to you. That's discipline, that's making an offering, and vulnerability. So I'll talk to you again soon, and I hope you guys have a great weekend.